Fuck with this random old comedian joke about something so dark. Just watch this shit.
You ever stop and realize how fragile all this is? All you'd have to do would be eliminate electricity. No electricity, no lights. You're back to candles and lanterns, campfires and bonfires. Batteries couldn't be recharged. Generators couldn't be refueled because fuel is pumped electrically. So is water, by the way. So no lights, no fuel, no water. Without electricity, all across America, the gates and cell doors of penitentiaries and mental institutions would fly open. Police wouldn't help you. They'd be gone at the first sign of trouble. They'd be home protecting their own families. So would the Army and the National Guard.
Now, didn't Trump just mention this in a speech?
The big problem is we need double the energy we currently have in the United States. Can you imagine? You don't have to hook into the grid, which is old and, could be taken out. If it's taken out, they wouldn't have any electricity.
And now we have another one of his friends literally telling us how and when to prepare.
A couple of things that you need to have on hand would be some type of a water filtration system, a generator, but on top of that, some type of a solar inverter. I would get a Faraday bag to put those generators in, figure out what electronics you think you're actually going to need the most, maybe light, heat, because if the grid goes down, there's not going to be any heat, and it's going to be extremely cold in some places. But another thing people don't think about is tools. Hand tools to be able to increase the infrastructure in your house and protect against the desperation of humanity that's coming.
And when this happens, information is going to be the most powerful resource because nobody's going to know what to do, which is why fuck with this random old comedian joke about something so dark. Just watch this shit.
You ever stop and realize how fragile all this is? All you'd have to do would be eliminate electricity. No electricity, no lights. You're back to candles and lanterns, campfires and bonfires.
Shalom, Akim Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful legs. Yours in this gospel, brother, lifting up the standard of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the Spirit. The brother uploaded a video.
Batteries couldn't be recharged.
Titled Overnight Chaos. If or when this happens, which is going into an EMP strike, okay, which EMP stands for electromagnetic pulse, which would disrupt all communications, or the ones that's not updated to withstand EMP attacks. All communications will cease to exist as we know it, okay? Hence the cell phones, modernized vehicles, light, power, gas, you name it, okay? And EMPs have been a talk of an attack for several decades, man, to the point that they've made movies about it. All right, like when you go into Leave the World Behind, that really was going into an EMP strike or an attack over America when the global systems and the infrastructures were pretty much halted because of an EMP strike. Now, there's also a movie titled, stupid bro, on a damn phone, I'm not even paying attention. But there's a movie or a TV series out on Netflix called 0 Day with this guy by the name of Robert De Niro, which he plays the ex-president of the United States. And basically what happens is that America is attacked through cyber systems, man. What they call cyber attacks, when the attacks to the computer hardwares and these particular systems, for medical systems and global systems and, comptrollers and airports and all these other things pretty much went offline due to an attack. And when you look at what this guy Schwab said maybe 2 years ago in Davos, they was going into the year of the poly crisis, which goes into many, which poly means multiple, right? But since 2023, you've noticed that this influx of cyber attacks have been hitting various sectors, man, such as the medical sector, okay, financial sector, banks, which is financial sector, public sectors, all types of stuff, man. To the point that they mentioned that over 2 billion records was leaked from the Social Security Administration database because allegedly these systems were hacked. Okay, which cyber attack. Even my company was allegedly hacked, and to the point that our VPNs have been offline. Shit, damn near 8-9. Well, actually, it happened last year, the beginning of the year, and then our VPNs, even though they're back up and running, but off-site we don't have any VPN, which they claim that will be up and running possibly by sometime this summer. So roughly a year and a half of outages when various records were leaked and all this other shit, which they're blaming it on cyber attacks, and they're blaming it on different they're blaming it on different groups, man. But in that TV series called Days Gone or Day Zero, basically they show you America basically attacking their own infrastructure and creating a boogeyman so they can be justified on going after who they deem a threat to confiscate resources, man, and to keep the American people in dark. So with that being said, an EMP over America is not unlikely, okay? Because remember, going back into 2023, they was allegedly blaming China for these spy balloons that was flying over the country, you know, which a lot of times with those drones and shit, a lot of times it'd be your own government doing it. But according to the Bible, the scriptures prophesied of 3 days of darkness, man, okay, which happened in ancient Egypt. And the scriptures tells us that plagues will hit Egypt as before. So it's just a matter of if, you know, or when, like the brother said. But we know that something is down the pipe, okay? Because let's just say if the grid do go down in the dead of winter, and as Sean Ryan was saying on his show, which I'm gonna play a clip from his show as well. But like he was saying, that would be chaos overnight, man, okay? And like this guy was saying, there won't be no cops because 911, they're gonna try to defend their own family, okay? So you ain't gonna see 911 putting up to your doorstep because you got an intruder, all right? That's not how it works, man, all right? Because the cops are gonna try to defend their own people, their own families. So let's just say if the grid goes down for 2 weeks and the markets go off and the banks go offline, because that's possibly that can happen to roll into this digital system. Same thing they did with the TikTok. They shut it down for 12 hours and then all of a sudden TikTok came back and it felt different. But anyway, with that being said, they can easily shut this thing down, man, and blame it on Iran, or they can blame it on Russia, China, North Korea, you know, the boogeyman, so to speak. Therefore, the American people are blinded by it. But I can very well see this happening in the near future, man. And when this does happen, or if it do happen, then all hell gonna break loose, man.
Large generators couldn't be refueled because fuel is pumped
I'm gonna play the rest of
electrically.
this video, and I got another one by Sean Ryan, and I got a couple of precepts to kind of get the point across, because I'm actually driving, so I don't want to overly be looking at my phone. But I do have a couple of precepts in mind, because all hell gonna break loose. If this happens, all hell gonna break loose. And most of you Jakes, you Negroes and Latinos, you don't even know how to live without power or without the convenience of what they consider light. Okay, the minute that your fucking power gets cut off, you in panic mode, especially in the dead of winter when there's no heat. You people literally go batshit crazy, you know, having to take cold showers and sleeping bibs and all this other stuff. You people go nuts, man. I remember one winter, I took cold showers all winter one year. It was like 5-6 years ago, man. I was taking cold showers in the winter, man. You know what I'm saying? Just to get kind of used to it. Cold as fuck, but nonetheless, you know, it's good for the immune system and builds you up, you know, which is getting warm now. So, hey, you know, I'm back in the spirit of taking cold showers, but these people ain't ready, man. Like the scriptures tells us, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times, man, and the strength of thy salvation. These people don't have a fucking clue, okay? Because once they can't go to the bars and the clubs and, you know, their little favorite restaurants and their outings, these people ain't gonna know what to do with themselves, man. Like my parents had what they called a term called running around with his head cut off like a chicken, or with a chicken with his head cut off. As y'all see how chickens run, but just imagine a headless chicken running around like crazy and bumping into stuff. That's gonna be you people, and especially you women and you kids, man. And that's when the Lord is gonna unleash them demonic spirits on you people, okay? Because these people are medically docile, man, okay? They're clinically induced, all medicated, drugs, you know, drunk as all goddamn hell, high off depression pills. These people ain't ready for what's getting ready to hit them, you know? All right, so anyway, I'm gonna play the rest of this video and get another video, and that'll be that. So here we go.
So is water, by the way, so no lights, no fuel, no water. Without electricity, all across America, the gates and cell doors of penitentiaries and mental institutions would fly open. Police wouldn't help you. They'd be gone at the first sign of trouble. They'd be home protecting their own families. So would the Army and the National Guard.
Now, didn't Trump just mention this in a speech?
The big problem is we need double the energy we currently have in the United States. Can you imagine? You don't have to hook into the grid, which is old and, you know, can be taken out. If it's taken out, they wouldn't have any electricity.
And now we have another one of his friends literally telling us how and when to prepare.
A couple of things that you need to have on hand would be some type of a water filtration system, a generator, but on top of that, some type of a solar inverter. I would get a Faraday bag to put those generators in, figure out what electronics, you think you're actually...
And most people don't know how to purify water, you know. A lot of people don't have the necessary tools or equipment, you know. Then a lot of people are basically out of shape to the point you got Jakes out here, Keisha out here that can't even walk a mile or two. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got Jakes that can't even run 2 blocks. So what happens when things hit the fan and then all hell break loose and yet you become the prey? You know, like when they say the hunter become the hunted. What happens then when you don't have anywhere to go, man? And when you got marauders and all types of incels that's trying to creep in your back door and take what you got, and you have no type of endurance. Your body's all messed up from eating these GMOs. You don't fast. You don't do a damn thing. Okay, you're gonna be in for a rude awakening. All right.
Going to need the most, maybe light, heat, because if the grid goes down, there's not going to be any heat, and it's going to be extremely cold in some places. But another thing people don't think about is tools. Hand tools to be able to increase the infrastructure in your house and protect against the desperation of humanity that's coming.
Now, when this happens, information is going to be the most powerful resource because nobody's going to know what to do. Which is why fuck with this random old comedian joke about something so dark. Just watch this shit.
You ever stop and realize how fragile all this is? All you'd have to do would be eliminate electricity. No electricity, no lights. You're back to candles and lanterns, campfires and bonfires. Batteries couldn't be recharged. Generators couldn't be refueled because fuel is pumped electrically. So is water, by the way. So no lights, no fuel, no water. Without electricity all across America.
And that's why T-Mobile is partnering with Elon Musk. I think he got something called Starlink as well. If you notice, they've been promoting these satellite-based commercials with T-Mobile. Basically, in worst case scenario, your phone could become a satellite phone, which in the case of an EMP attack, that's basically how you can receive some type of reception for a particular time, man, using satellite phones, man. That goes off the satellites and shit. But once everything is powered down, that just pretty much eventually is null and void. But now, you know, instead of operating on a 5G frequency, you could turn your phone into like a satellite phone, man. You know? So, what do you think they're hitting at? They're telling you that something big is coming down the pipe. Hence the Great Reset. All right? So, when you look up what EMP means, it says electromagnetic pulse damage control systems and critical infrastructure, including power grids, communications, and transportation. Meaning your vehicle and your car. If you got a car that's like a late 80s model and up, then 9 times out of 10 your vehicle won't work because the circuitry from the EMP attack will fry the circuits of the electronics, man. It would totally disrupt the communications of power. So therefore, you try to start your vehicle, it won't start because the electrical systems and the battery components within your terminals are fried. So you're not going to be able to get the signal to start up the vehicle. Hence, highways being bagged up. Because a lot of this shit, when it do happen, or if it does happen, a lot of people are going to be on a roundabout way, you know, marrying and going and do their own thing, going on their way to the club. And all of a sudden, something happens over the skies of America. Then, you know what I'm saying, your car shuts down. Your Tesla, your F-150, your Hellcat, you know, because those are not EMP proof, by the way. But when that happens, you people are going to be stranded. So you're going to have to be forced to get out of your car and walk to your destination. And a lot of you just going to bug out, man, trying to call 911, you know, and you're not going to have any signal because you need signal to get through 911 communications, man. Okay? Hence, wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of thy times. It says equipment damage. EMPs can damage or disable electronic equipment. So your radios, your smartphones, you know, your video games, your smart TVs. None of that shit will work. And it says including computers, satellites, radio, and traffic lights, which in some cases, satellite phones, they'll work until the signal dies out completely. But eventually, the only ones that's going to have a form of communication is the military, all right? Or if you got like some type of walkie-talkie, you know, but even then, the batteries and that shit might not even work. Okay, so yeah, the Most High, man, he has this place set up for complete judgment all around. And if you're not grounded in his word, and you're not grounded in these scriptures, and you've been taking this truth very lightly, then when this come to pass, you ain't gonna have a foot to stand on, because there's gonna be a lot of crime out here, man. Okay, especially with the mindset that these people have. You know, these people one throw over from just going batshit crazy, man. Like, it was a movie that came out in like 2010, I think, with Kevin Bacon. Was Kevin Bacon in that movie? I don't think so. But this guy by the name of what's this guy's name, man? Not Matthew Lillard. It was another crazy looking dude, man, that was in this movie. I think he played in one of the Scream movies. Crazy looking dude. I forgot his name. But anyway, he played in there, and basically I believe it was like some type of attack on the water systems or some shit like that, and then people just went batshit crazy, man, and they just start losing their damn minds, man. Okay, and these movies is nothing more but a foreshadowing as to tell you as to what's getting ready to come to pass, man. Okay, so movies like the Leave the Day Behind, Leave the World Behind, and that movie and this movie, it's all for telling a magnificent event, man. Okay, like Leave the World Behind, Homestead. They got the Homestead series out right now. Also, Civil War, and then this new series called Days Gone. It all goes in hand. I watch those movies, and they all kind of collide with one another. And you could throw in the Purge movies on top of that, which the Purge movies is a heavy, man. The last two Purge movies, they were like my favorite. But it says here, radios and traffic lights, EMPs can damage power lines and transformers, causing blackouts, and also communications disruptions. EMPs can damage cell towers, telecommunications switches, and other communications equipment. All right. Effects on the infrastructure, transportation disruption. EMPs can disrupt vehicles' electronics, causing vehicles to stall. So no ambulance. Water and wastewater disruption. EMPs can damage water and wastewater systems, which there have been attacks on the water systems, man. Pollutants in the water. So eventually, when you flush in a toilet or you're running the water in your house, eventually it's going to stop because it's all being manned electronically through pump stations or substations in these little city facilities. So once the pumps go out, there goes your water supply. Then all that shit is going to bag up in your crib, man. So there you go. You're going to have a feces thing on your hand. Food and medical service disruption. EMPs can disrupt food production, transportation, and medical services. Public panic can lead to public panic and loss of life, and economic and military impact, which EMPs could severely weaken the country's economic and military power, which I speculate that the military will have some type of EMP-proof vehicles, man, because they're going to be deployed to the streets, man, to ensue order out of chaos. All right. It says EMPs can be caused by nuclear explosions in the atmosphere or naturally occurring geomagnetic disturbances. So, yeah, man, we in them times. All right. So this is the book of Revelation 16, and I'm going to start at verses 10. And it says, and a fifth angel poured out his vial upon the seat of the beast, and his kingdom was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain. All right. And blaspheme Yahweh of heaven because of their pains and their sores, and repented not of their deeds. Now, this is talking about after they received the MOT busy, right? But regardless, it says darkness, all right, which darkness can go into a mindset, you know, the wickedness that's transpiring on the earth. But I wouldn't put blackouts past this either, because, hey, eventually they're going to have to shut this thing down, man. Or the Most High is going to do it like he did in ancient Egypt. All right. But it says here it was full of darkness, and they gnawed their tongues for pain because the destruction is coming. And when they're shooting those nuclear missiles, hey, they're going to cut the feeds are going to get cut anyway. All right. This is the book of Exodus 10. And I'm going to start at verses 20, 21. And it says, and Yahweh said unto Moses, stretch out thy hand towards heaven, that there may be darkness over the land of Egypt, even darkness which may be felt. All right. Which is a thick, eerie darkness. Also with those apparitions, okay, because it tells us in Psalm 78 that the Most High sent evil angels among them. So the beasts of the earth are going to come out and endure their venture in that day. And it says, and Moses stretched forth his hand towards heaven, and there was thick darkness in all the land of Egypt 3 days. And they saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings, all right? Because in that time when we was in Goshen, we had light because we was exempt from judgment. Okay, the Most High had the mark of the Thal Ra on us at that time, the Thal Ra, which means exempt. All right, but the Egyptians and the heathens, they received of the plagues of the Heavenly Father because they repented not. You see? So this is where we're at in prophecy, man. So don't be surprised if the lights go out and they say, well, hey, China or North Korea, somebody detonated an EMP over our skies. But yet it's the American military or the UN troops that's going door to door and throwing people in concentration camps, man. However it may go down, you know, they may do it in grids, they may do it in sections, we don't know. But regardless of it, when they make their move, the power may be cut. All right, because Revelation 12:12 tells us that this devil was coming down with great wrath because he had but a short time, which this is part of it. Revelation 12:12, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. But woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, which the devil is talking about Esau, the devil is come down unto you having great wrath because he knoweth he have but a short time. So this is all part of the plan, man. All right, and you women, hey, good luck to you and your children, because you ain't gonna have no man that's gonna come to your rescue in that day. All you bad independent boss women out there that's been giving men shit, and all you wicked ass ninjas out there that's been playing games with this truth, hey, you ain't gonna have the wisdom and knowledge. The Most High ain't gonna defend you in that day. You know, it's not gonna defend you. It's not gonna keep you from the wrath to come. But anyway, with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Hawashai Bashim Rakakwadash. Lord's will, you were edified. To the next lesson. Shalom.
Commission, they found that as many as 90% of Americans would die. So it really becomes almost zombie apocalypse.
There goes all the water, there goes all the bread, there goes all the meat, all the frozen food, all the vegetables, anything you can think of, it's gone.
There's no cavalry to come, and you can't count on the cavalry.
I'd like to go over and paint a picture of what it looks like if our power grid were to go down. And you did an amazing job of that in your documentary.
Well, thank you. So essentially what would go down is, and really there's misperception sometimes about the power grid going down. Sometimes it's out for a couple days. Normally it happens regionally. You know, it's a pain in our neck. And sometimes if it might go down regionally, we might have, you know, another state or another city come in to help us out. What we're talking about here is two different amplifiers. One, if it's nationwide, then you don't have, you know, Houston able to help out Louisiana as an example. You know, then we have to count on France. And then also we're talking about something longer than a couple days. If this happens 6 to 9 months, then again, it amplifies it, you know, 1,000 to 1,000,000 fold. And so if we truly have an outage that is nationwide, that lasts 9 months, the EMP Commission, which is a commission that was mandated by U.S. Congress, and it has much more authority and better funding than a congressional committee. They found that as many as 90% of Americans would die.
90% of Americans, what's 90% of 360 million people?
Yeah, so it's like 300 million. So
300 million people wiped off the map just like that. And how long did you say that would take?
9 months.
9 months?
That was the metric that the EMP Commission utilized.
And what does it look like if our power grid goes down?
So it really becomes almost zombie apocalypse. And it's horrific because we think about losing the rule of law. And so we have George Carlin, you know, a clip from, you know, one of his comedy tours in the movie. And he says, you can't count on the police or the National Guard. They'll be at home protecting their own family. And that's exactly true.
I don't think people realize how much chaos and how miserable it will become when the power grid goes down. And just, I've known this is coming for a long time. And when I first started looking into it, me and my wife lived in Florida. We went through a hurricane, and anybody who lives in Florida, the population just continues to increase and increase. And now after 2020 and COVID, with all the mandates, all these people that want freedom are just pouring in there like it's nobody's business. Right. And well, we moved up here about 5 years ago to Tennessee, and We went through a hurricane. Here's what happens in a hurricane. If anybody's been through one, they obviously know, but grocery stores are completely wiped out within about 48 hours of a hurricane coming. Just the news alone, people go into panic mode, and there goes all the water, there goes all the bread, there goes all the meat, all the frozen food, all the vegetables, anything you can think of, it's gone. Gasoline, gone. The lines go around, the lines can be over a mile long sometimes. Plywood, gone. Why do you need plywood? To keep looters out and to keep debris that the hurricane's going to throw at your house from breaking windows. All the plywood's gone. All the generators are gone because everybody knows the power's going to go out. Everything that you can think, you can't even escape it because I believe it was Matthew, there was a stop and go traffic jam on Highway 95, and that went all the way from Miami to Atlanta, Georgia. Stop and go traffic. There is no escape. And so when we went through that, that hurricane, if I remember correctly, that wound up being kind of over embellished by the news. But it did paint a picture of what it's going to be like with all these new people. I mean, Florida's worried that they're not going to be able to flush the toilets in a couple of years. There's so many people down there now. So we moved up here. And when we moved up here,
get the QuickBooks mobile app. Simply snap photos of receipts, tap, and
I had a very particular type of property that I was looking for because I was thinking about the grid and what's going to happen when it does go down, because I knew early on how vulnerable it was. I didn't realize it was this vulnerable. And we looked for a place that was way out in the middle of nowhere. It had to have a water source because when the grid goes down, there goes your water, there goes your medical, there goes your food, everything. It's gone. There goes the police. There goes communications. You think you're going to talk to your elderly parents? Nope. That's over. No cars, especially if it's an EMP. An EMP will destroy any electronic device within its range. And help me out here. There's a lot more, that needs to be said about what this looks like in a never ending, 9 months, just 9 months alone.
And it frankly could be 6 months. I mean, these guys, the EMP Commission was staffed by the smartest scientists and, electromagnetic pulse physicists, in the world. And they're making conjectures but think about the municipal water system. The municipal water system is 100% dependent upon the grid. So I visited in Highland Park in Dallas a system there and had the top engineer walk me through some of it. And I said, well, what's your power source? They said, the grid. I said, any backup for that? No, we thought about some backup generators a few years ago. It would have cost $5 million, and we dismissed that idea.
There's literally nothing, which is going to nothing. There are no supply chains. There is no water. There is no food. There is no fuel. Everything that you have come to know, all the both luxuries and necessities in life, are fueled by the power grid, and that's going to create chaos because when people get hungry and they get thirsty and desperation sets in, there's no more friends, there's no more communities. People are going to do whatever they need to do to enable their families and themselves survive. And it's just going to be mass, not really rioting, chaos in the streets. Nobody's coming. There is nobody coming. How are they going to fuel helicopters to bring supplies in? They're not. They can't.
There's an expression that's utilized among the grid warrior community, which is there's no cavalry to come, and you can't count on the cavalry. And so let me also mention, even if you had some backup generators, and some people, some institutions like hospitals or apartments might have backup generators, but then how much diesel supply do you have? And then sometimes it's 3 days, sometimes it's a day and a half, maybe it might be 30 days. But then your diesel's not going to be delivered, because there's going to be chaos. And therefore, that's what causes, the problems. And people think that, oh, I've got, this backup generator, or, the power guys, from the electric utilities will come out and fix all this. Well, how about if the transformer and these high voltage transformers that we talk about in the film that are, hundreds of tons each, are made mostly in South Korea, Germany, and some in China. And that's a big part of our movie that we talk about, is they can't be replaced without there being an enormous backlog. And it will take, potentially right now, the backlog has gone from 2 years to over 5 years from what we understand, because what's happened in the Ukraine, the Russians have gone after the Ukrainian power grid, and they've wiped out a number of transformers, and therefore in replacing some of those transformers that have been damaged.
Hey everybody, I'm Sean Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Sean Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes, so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.